Alright, it's Umineko time again. Woohoo! Or whatever. So yeah, welcome back to Umineko, everyone. Last time, we continued the story of, everybody being put in a giant game of love where they have to murder people to show just how dedicated they are to love. Um, and that's basically big lots of stories about how love can make you kill people if you really need to, because you think you need to step over other people for the sake of making sure that your love succeeds. Uh, and just as the point where I was about to say, hey, what's the point of all of this? Uh, we step back to the other world where Ange, who's basically the audience surrogate, is like to whatever her name, Featherine, who is basically the author surrogate. Hey, what's the point of all this shit? And the author's pet surrogate is basically saying, okay, technically, none of this is actually relevant, no, but you should consider that maybe the author put all of this in a purpose. Like, maybe this is all here because, it's important to show the themes of the story, and maybe you should stop talking about like, oh hey, this doesn't really have a point to it, or it's just extraneous or whatever. Um, so basically, the writers are basically talking directly to us and basically saying, yeah, I'm gonna keep doing this shit because it's about the themes of the story, which are like, I guess, how love can make you see things that are there and see things that aren't there in a positive and negative way, I guess. You know, before we were sort of thinking about it in a side kind of a negative, but in a sort of a positive, I don't know what you call it. Like, you know, you can't see the truth unless you love. But there's also this idea of like, hey, well, maybe if you love, you will also see things that aren't true. Um, oh yeah, right, yeah, and the other thing about like, yeah, technically, really, you could also write Umineko if you wanted. Although, to be fair, that was something I'd already figured out as much in terms of the whole, like, yeah, this this entire story scenario takes place without any witnesses, essentially, without any witnesses left alive. So theoretically, what happened there could be anything because nobody was around at the time who could tell us exactly what happened. So yeah, that's basically it. Uh, let's continue. I mean, and yeah, there's multiple timeline shit, but like that stuff's been there even in Higurashi. It's just a thing these adventure game novelists, like, you know, I think also, you know, they hear it because somebody else did it and then they did it and how they want to do it because it's fun. It's fun just like not just having one story but having 8. So I guess now the question is how they are going to emphasize exactly what happened in how the people who died in the first Twilight in this scenario are going to be reconciled in the real world, or I don't know. Yes, who is it? I hope you have a good reason for knocking on the detective's door at an hour like this. That's right. I have one thing to say before we begin this game. Oh, that detective proclamation thing? Do as you wish. No, I mean the opposite. I say we raise the stakes. Raise the stakes? What's this? Now that sounds interesting. What do you mean? It's simple. Battler got a shot off at us in the last game. So if Erica does the same in this game, we're only even. Wasn't the last game a tie? We failed to win a game that should have been a shoo-in, right? If that isn't a loss, I don't know what is. Right, Erica? Yes, my master. If I hadn't failed so miserably, we would have won that game easily. Oh, I get it. This time you'll intentionally fight at a disadvantage by not making a detective proclamation, and win despite that. Scheming not only to wipe out your loss from the previous game, but also to totally flip the score upside down, right? You intend to participate in the game Battler-san poured his heart and soul into with a foolish handicap like that? That is not only presumptuous, it's quite rude. Got a point there. Sounds more like an excuse just in case they lose. Don't worry, there's better balance on both sides. If this game is won by a human without the detective proclamation, it'll be impossible for Battler and the others to pick up the pieces of the illusion of the witch. But on the other hand, if Erica loses, that detective trash will be sent in the depths of oblivion, along with the worst possible fragment. See? That's balance, isn't it? An ultimate victory with a mere human, not a Superman detective, destroying the illusion of the witch. She's putting her own destruction on the line to make that bet. I've gotten bored with these sluggish, repeating games that you and the Fallen Veto made, so we're raising the stakes and settling it all at once. Well, that's true. If Battler makes it through this game, it'll mean that Battler has won Vito's game, and the game will end. So what are you saying? You're saying he's not going to make it through this game? Because we've still got 2 more episodes after that. God, I don't know. Is that of your own will? What's wrong, Erica? Answer him, okay? Obviously, this is my own will. I certainly will not lose. Even without the detective proclamation, I will defeat you no matter what. Not this song. Sure, that's fine. If that's what you want, I'll accept that challenge. Thank you very much. I'll make sure you regret it. Do what you want. Then get started, you two. I'm already starting to get bored. Leave it to me, my master. I will destroy the illusion of the witch for you without fail. A good while ago, they went downstairs saying they wanted to get something to drink. We thought they might have come to your room. Of course not. Why would they? Are you sure they didn't go to the mansion? Please stay here, you two. I'm going to check the mansion. Hey, it's dangerous to go out this late. How could a stranger sneak into this sealed-off island? Stay in that cousin room of yours. I'll contact you if anything happens. Also, tell the servants in the guest house servant room not to leave the building. Bye! First twilight usually starts in the morning, but it looks like we've got an early flight this time. No crime has occurred in the guest house, so that means the stage of the tragedies in the mansion. I can't believe how long I've been playing this game. Holy shit. It's gonna feel crazy when this is all over. Well, no point thinking about it now. After all, that might just be a whim of the Game Masters. Ah, good evening, Goto-san. Is something the matter? Please, ambulance! Please calm down. I've got the police or an ambulance to get to an isolated island inside a typhoon. I'm sure the phones are out anyway, so please calm yourself. Well then, give me the victims, the scene, and a reconstruction of the situation. We wrapping up episode 6 today? I've got no fucking clue. Probably not. I don't know. I mean, I don't know how long every episode is, right? I assume we've still got a bit to go. After all, this is just the first Twilight. Those who left to take a break didn't come back, so the adults went to the parlor. When they did, the door was sealed from the inside and they couldn't open it. We'll see later, but the hat stand in the parlor had been used to bar the double doors from the inside. So you're trying to say the door was blocked from the inside, and the windows were also locked from the inside. That's it. When they went around and looked in the parlor through the window, they saw Rosa lying on the sofa in an unnatural position, with blood pouring from her forehead. Oh, okay. Huh. But, like, they said... So that was the one where Canon did that. But, like, they said that was a different fragment. As opposed to the ones where they killed Ave... Oh, well, you know what? We'll see. Then smashed the glass, entered the parlor, and discovered Maria was also there, lying by the wall, covered in blood. The entrance wasn't locked when you came through the mansion because they went out through it to check the apartment from the outside. It had been locked before they left through it, so it was a chance that the others who had gone missing were lying elsewhere within the mansion. And the outs were now searching the entire building. So, do the places the victims died match that long, crazy delusion you showed earlier? They match. Rosa and Maria were in the parlor. Beyond that, Nazi was in her own room, and Kyrie was in Krause's study. Ava was in the rose garden. No, wait. She was moved to the VIP room, wasn't she? Yes. Ava's corpse was found in the VIP room. That makes 5 victims. Ah, that's one short of the first Twilight. Who's the 6th person and where? Crosshammer, the chain on this room is also set. Cut it. The culprit might be hiding in there. Ah, yes. The gun CG's... The gun CG's return. Oh shit, there was a place where the bad person was stuck here. So who's in here? Is anyone there? Get out here. Oh, actually now... Hey, we don't need to make fun of the old art. Like, it was, you know, if this game is made in the shoestring budget, it's fine as long as the story's good. So okay, so basically, well, then was this scenario? Did this actually happen? Was this like Peace Battler? Was that the whole thing? Is Battler in here? Battler! Yeah. Damn it! What are you doing in a place like this? Oh. I can't believe it. But this room is also a closed room. It sure is a good thing that, conveniently, you know, now Battler is no longer the, you know, now the Battler's controlling the game. Now he can finally be a victim in the murder. Finally, right? Okay, no, it hasn't. I'll wait for the teardrop sound to see when the thing edits. Update. Oh, you still have Ange? Oh, there's a surprise. To think that you yourself would be the 6th person. It's more interesting to kill yourself off every now and then. And all of the crime scenes are closed rooms. It's a murder that couldn't have been performed without magic. Isn't seeing through that the point of this game? In other words, it must be a murder that could have been performed without magic. After all, if it could really be done with magic, this wouldn't be a game. That's an interesting thought. Yes, that is the sort of game we've been playing. This game is fair. The goal is to explain without magic the strange crimes that are claimed to be caused with magic. If that couldn't be done, it wouldn't be a game. In other words, as Eric had said, there must have been murders that could have been performed without magic. Turn it around, the witch side had a certain responsibility. They had to make a crime that could be reproduced with tricks and not magic. And as the human side could see through to those tricks, the witch side could use all sorts of magic and illusion. In other words, in order to carry out a closed room murder with magic, it was necessary to create a crime that would be possible with a human hand. I understand. I see why when I ordered the Seven Sisters to kill my classmates back at St. Lucia's, they couldn't do what I told them. And I understand the meaning of Mammon's words. Yeah, by the way, let's give us some more answers. Magic can only do what you would accomplish by your own hands. Is that it? At that time, if I had possessed the determination to kill my classmates... No, that's not it. At that time, if I had been capable of killing my classmates, capable of pulling it off, then the Seven Sisters of Purgatory would probably have pulled it off for me. Yeah. They could only accomplish what I could do myself. No, that's not it either. They could take what I had accomplished and turn it into magic. However, because there'd been a great number of witnesses in that classroom, it would have probably been impossible. It would have been burned by that anti-magic toxin Maria Onechan and the others always talk about. However, if I had called those classmates out somewhere without witnesses, and if I had succeeded in murder, at that point the Seven Sisters of Purgatory would be capable of carrying out a magical murder. Magic is the power of mass delusion. Even with magic, witches cannot do things that they cannot accomplish by themselves. They can only adorn things that they're capable of doing with magic. Interesting. And that is because those who accomplish something without using magic later claim that magic was used and called themselves witches. This Erica person has understood that since the beginning. That's why she will never surrender to witches. Hello, Witch Hunter Gabby. Hello, Alley Cat. She is confident that it must be explainable with tricks. The old battler was toyed with so frequently because he did not possess that conviction. He didn't understand because we were talking in riddles the entire fucking time, and we just never told him that because it was really, really funny to watch him just be absolutely confused out of his fucking mind. It was great. Like, it was just the most amusing thing ever. We're like, no, listen, Battler, we're actually not talking about real things. This is all just a metaphor. And we just never told him, so so we just wanted to blow his mind. This is the kind of shit that witches do. Once you see through that rule, the witch loses any chance of victory. That's why they have to make their opponent surrender before they see the truth of that rule. The longer the match is drawn out and the more hints are given, the greater the witch's overwhelming disadvantage becomes. Once again, this reading keeps spinning around in circles. Why did Vito let this game get drawn out until she lost? Lady Erica, I believe you know, but allow me to warn you just in case. Yes, what is it? It is true that you have an incredible photographic memory, Lady Erica. That, combined with the detective proclamation, is what it made possible for you to avoid being deceived by anything. Yeah, I get it. Since no detective proclamation has been made about me, even my photographic memory doesn't count as foolproof evidence. Of course I understand that. Still, that doesn't mean I can afford to miss viewing the crime scenes directly. After all, in the last game, my pride in that regard led me to a truly miserable failure. For example, by this argument, no matter how well you examine a person's corpse, you could not even guarantee that they were not faking their death. Oh, sorry, that was Lanor. For example, by this argument, no matter how well you examine a person's corpse, you could not even guarantee that they were not faking their death with absolute certainty. Most probably, features of this situation must be individually confirmed by telling Battler to repeat them in red. And I'll need to use the blue truth liberally in order to make him. I understand. Let's start with the basics. The lack of detective authority is no handicap. It simply means I'm fighting under the same conditions Battler once was. And this time I know the rules. This fight is recreating the old days where Battler and Vito fought so fiercely, but with positions are reversed. I know what magic is, and I'm fully aware of how to fight with the red and blue truths. I know the way to fight in this game many times better than the old battler did. Now I'm the protagonist. Sorry, Erica, you're too much of a jerk. We don't believe you're the protagonist. There we go. Okay, I heard the teardrop sound. Let's go. Ushirima Natsuhi. A corpse was found in her room. Furuta Erica didn't perform a proper investigation, so the details of the cause of death are unknown. Oh, interesting. Is that the same with all of them? Yep. Same with all of them. That's cool. That's cute. Like, it's like a, yeah. Well, I guess, what's the word? Battler in the last game, in the other games, had so much. Oh no! First of all, it had so much detail because like he could see all the corpses in great detail all of the time, or sometimes he didn't, and then other times must be because Beatrice actually told him all of the details. And then I stuffed them full of Halloween candies. Isn't that fun, Battler? First off, all the scenes were made to look like closed rooms. The master keys could have had nothing to do with the trick. The closed rooms were all made without relying on any elements that could be locked or unlocked by the outside of a master key. The windows were locked from the inside, the doors were all locked and chained. Yep. The master key could not get around the window locks and the chain locks. I understand. Right now, I'm a mere human. You can't even properly confirm the death of the corpses. Last time I neglected to check the corpses, and let a massive bit of magic get by me. I won't fail like that again. If I did, I wouldn't be able to face the master I am so indebted to. We have checked all of the scenes and finished gathering information. Here is our report. Go ahead. First of all, the rooms were all closed rooms formed by the window locks and chain locks and the like, so that interference from the outside world would be difficult. The only exception is the parlor, where Rosa and Maria lay dead. Please allow me to speak. Let it be known that the door was barred with a hat stand. It is thought to be substantially the same as a chain lock, in that it can only be set from the inside. It is probably their goal to construct closed rooms where explanations using master keys are made completely ineffective. The parlor has no chain lock due to its very nature, so it's natural that something else will be used in the chain's place. In that case, the interesting question becomes why one of the other rooms with chain locks wasn't chosen to be a closed room. Several guest rooms other than one Battle lay dead in all similar layouts. Just tried reading the guide on doing Umineko on the Steam forums. God, it sounds complicated. What do you mean, guide on Umineko? Like, there's no guide. You just read the text, right? Even though it should have been more beautiful to throw them in there so that everyone would be inside a chain-locked closed room, they did not. The hat stand, door bar, and the parlor seem very suspicious. I should probably pursue this when demanding red truths. Also, we have corpses, but are they the same absolute deaths with their necks sliced open, yada yada yada? Without a technical authority, she had no guarantee she'd be able to see through any fake deaths with certainty. The old battler started fighting by doubting whether the victims were truly dead. Yep. Please allow me to speak. Know that there were no corpses that could have been confirmed dead with certainty by physical means. Please allow me to speak. We cannot deny the possibility that any one of these corpses might be faked to death. Oh, I doubt Battler will easily confirm their deaths in red, even if I tell him to. Sheesh. I like Beto's chain of 6 closed rooms better. However, these closed rooms are even more complete, considering that master keys don't help you at all. There are 2 general ways of breaking closed rooms that Battler might be after. An illusion of a closed room, or illusion of a crime. It'll be one of those. I get the first one. That's when something looks like a closed room, but it actually isn't, right? What do you mean by the illusion of a crime? An illusion makes it seem as though a crime has occurred. In other words, are they really dead? Well, that's dumb. The people inside are alive. How did they get his... Yep. What about the endless possibilities of manipulating the chain lock from the outside? We don't know if there are secret doors, ways to cover distance, chances of suicide, or even whether these are complete closed rooms in the first place. I already know since I'm looking at Battler's game board from the underside. These are perfect closed rooms. Okay, yep. Can you say that in red? That'd be a little too rude to Battler, so no. You If you do love me, you must take my words as red truth already, right? And the closed rooms are perfect. In other words, this is an illusion of a crime. Does that mean that everyone got so pissed at Erica bragging about detectives and stuff so they joined together and set up a fake murder to make fun of her? Oh, is that the right answer? I'm like a super detective. Unfortunately, this isn't a fake. Victims really have been killed. She wouldn't say it in red for her, right? And that poor Erica must want it so bad. Well, she isn't even the detective this time around. I won't give her any red. Still, it makes it incredible. This time Ballas really made a perfect closed room. Lara could be okay. Peter's game board did entertain me for quite some time, but we've already wrung everything we can from it. It'll be over with this game. So in the end, we really must let Butler and Erica bet everything in one final face-off. I wanted to play with you forever in this game. What a shame. Come now, I've spent plenty of time with you already. You can find me another interesting game. If you do, I'll play with you again. Mademoiselle had guaranteed it was a perfect closed room. Ben Castell had guaranteed it was a perfect murder. A perfect closed room and murder. The witches hate Killjoy, so they haven't said anything with the red truth yet. Looks like you've trampled all over the crime scenes by now. Satisfied? Is your inspection complete? Yes, I'm satisfied. So about our war of red and blue. Shall we start right away? Or do it all at the end? I don't like putting things off. I think the same goes for you. Then let's get started with the closed rooms of the first Twilight. First, I'd like to check. Do you intend to respond if I asked you to repeat something in red? Depending what you say, yes. I have no obligation to respond to everything, and I won't reveal my reasons when I refuse. Good. Then let's start simple and confirm the definition of a closed room. Lanor, please read aloud. Understood. We demand that the following be repeated. First, the rooms with the 6 people in them are all closed rooms. Acknowledged. Of course, that's only until Goda and the others sever the chains and destroy the closed rooms. Second, the definition of a closed room implies that it is impossible to construct from the outside. Acknowledged. In other words, no trickery done from the outside can construct a closed room. It's not permitted for a chain lock to be reset from the outside by cleverly used wire, for example. Third, the definition of a closed room implies that all forms of interference that pass between the inside and outside of the room are prevented. Acknowledged. However, I won't deny the kinds of interference that you'd expect from a normal room, such as knocks, voices, and the extension telephone line. Fourth, at the time of the deconstruction of the closed rooms, none existed within the rooms except for the victims, Natsuhi, Ava, Kyrie, Rosa, Maria, Butler. Acknowledged. Fifth, no murder was committed after the deconstruction of the closed rooms. I refuse. Ooh. Why? Because the victims really were alive after the closed rooms were destroyed? So Kraus and the others who barged in with the culprits and committed the murders then? In other words, they were opposed to closed rooms murders. Is that why you refuse? Not at all. The murders will continue to occur, so we cannot say in red that no murders will happen after this. Okay, hang on, what was it? No murder was committed after. Okay, right. Okay, that's what they meant. Sheesh, what twisted logic. You probably see what we're getting at. Krause's group cut the chain and destroyed the closed rooms, then killed the people inside. I just want you to counter this. Lady Erica, it is insufficient to refer to Krause's group an unspecified number of people. I like that we're actually getting back to the game shit, you know? Without any crazy, weirdo, like, cheating, basically, without the cheating. You should first determine which humans entered the room after the closed rooms are constructed. Accepting the victims, those who entered the closed rooms were Kraus, Rudolph, Hideyoshi, and Goda. It's based on spoken testimony, but there is no proof the others did not enter. I know that already. Let's have you repeat that. After deconstruction of the closed rooms, then excluding me, only Kraus, Rudolph, Hideyoshi, and Goda entered the rooms. Sure, acknowledged. However, this only applies to the current point in time. It's possible that some later development in the game will cause more people to enter. Repeat it. Kraus, Rudolph, Hideyoshi, and Goda are not culprits. Why not answer? If you refuse, their blue truth naming Kraus, House, and the others as culprit will remain. Sure, I'll acknowledge it, but I'll make the language more strict. Kraus, Rudolph, Hideyoshi, and Goda were not involved in the murders of Natsuhi, Ava, Kyrie, Rosa, Maria, and Battler. And that means it was also possible for any of the other humans, impossible for any other humans who didn't even enter the closed room to have been involved with murder, doesn't it? Who knows? Think about it yourself. If you think you can build up some blue truth for how a closed room murder can be committed without entering the room, then I'll respond with the red truth. However, I only need to destroy one of the blue truths you'll be presented from here on out. In other words, even if you do manage to use the blue truth and explain its way with some long-distance closed room murder trick X, I don't necessarily have to counter that with the red truth. These are the rules of Witcher's game, and should confirm these details with Vito in the fourth game. The Witch side lays out riddle after riddle that it claims are impossible to carry out except by magic. The human side must use the blue truth to argue that they are explainable with tricks. And if they fail to make a counter-argument with the blue truth for even one of the riddles, that riddle will be considered to have been done by magic, and it will be impossible to deny the existence of a witch. That is how this game works. The witch side only needs to protect any one of its riddles. However, the human side has to fully explain all riddles with the blue truth. If any one of those is successfully counted, the witch will win. In any event, you refuse to repeat that last one, right? Don't get the wrong idea. I don't give out red for free. From the witch side's perspective, repeating statements made by the human side is just a supplement to make sure they haven't misunderstood the question. Therefore, they have no obligation to respond to extremely broad demands. Not bad. Looks like you can handle being a player on the witch side pretty well, too. Your experience is no match for mine. Lanor, let us continue. Next, the victims did not die by any method other than homicide. Acknowledged. Of course, there were no suicides or accidental deaths. 7th, the victims. It's enough, Lanor. Are you sure? There are still items. Yes, that will do fine. I've confirmed the status of the crime scene. From here on, it's time for me to argue back with the blue truth. Sure, fine. Let me hear your multiple theories. Though Valor and Erika were enemies, it looked to Beto as though they were having a little fun doing this. She was probably slightly jealous of Erika. And unfortunately, we don't get to see the rest of the fight because reasons. It doesn't contribute to the story. I don't know. Why are they all women? How cowardly can a person be? What's wrong with us? Here we are under the same roof and we're just smoking away, not noticing the members of our own family are getting killed? Damn it! But who and how? They were not unguarded. No, I was gonna say, I wonder if there's a situation then, like how Battler died in this fragment, how which Battler actually set that whole thing up. Because I wonder if it's like, they're not gonna show that scene until the end because it's like some kind of plot detail that tells us something about Battler or something. This is it's like I think it's almost like a bachelor club, but although unfortunately it's because all of their wives are dead, but they're just like it's just it's just these guys being like, man, I miss my wife. I miss my wife too. I also miss my wife. I am fully aware of how everyone feels. However, please calm down. Either Goda-san wasn't thorough when locking up, or someone let Battler-san and Maria-san after they came through the guest house and then forgot to lock up back up afterwards. It doesn't necessarily have anything to do with how the culprit snuck in. Yeah, we still have one child left. The culprit is still on this island, and we can't be sure that this tragic crime is over. We need to stay calm and prevent any further tragedies. Let's stay cool. We have 3 grown men with us, and guns as well. Judging by the pattern of the murders, the chances of the culprit having a gun are low. In other words, as long as we keep our head, the culprit no longer has any way to touch us. I wonder, what's the word? I wonder if anybody's going to bring up Kinzo or not. Because, I mean, obviously, now we know the truth. We know that, Kraus isn't going to want to bring up Kinzo because then he might mention the whole, the illusion might go and they realize that Kinzo isn't there and he's been dead this whole time, but we'll see. Also, I'm reminded about the thing about when they're saying, guns have a special anti-magic properties. Basically, because, if someone has a gun, it makes it that much harder for you to realistically say that somebody, snuck in and murdered everybody. Because that's when they were saying, that's why they were saying, like, oh, guns have anti-magic properties. It's because if someone has a gun, it is a lot harder to believe that somebody could catch someone off guard and murder them. Because if they see something, they can just shoot them. So you're like, that doesn't seem realistic at all. That's the whole thing. That's why having the guns makes the witch. It's harder for the witch side because they need to come up with something that could be plausible, even if the other person has a gun. Look at me! I know Umineko so well by now. The most important thing right now is to make sure no more of our beloved family members are taken from us. Oh shit! I didn't see that part. Kyrie, Battler. Damn it. I never had a chance to tell you the truth. He really is hiding something. Carl-san, I told everyone the cousin room. Okay, yep. Quiet, please. I didn't have you stay down here to check the doors and windows. Please listen calmly to what I'm about to say. Listen up. This crime happened during a short break in the family conference. In that tiny span of time, 6 people were killed without anyone noticing. I can't imagine a crime improvised on the spot going so smoothly. This crime was committed by someone who knew the layout of this mansion well, inside and out. At the time of the crime, the mansion was locked from the inside, and only those involved with the family conference existed there. So, Aniki killed Kyrie and the others? Or am I supposed to suspect Kyrie the Ocean-san? Eric had already received red thread truth proof from Battler that they were not the murderers, so there was no need to argue that point. Faust, Rudo, Hideyoshi, and Goda, none of those four were the killer. And yet, Erika said this. However, what about Goda's? Okay. Yep. Goda-san probably didn't kill them himself. However, it's very possible that he secretly welcomed the actual murderer into the mansion. I suspect the servants on 2 points. First, the victims are familiar with them, and there was no sign of a fight in any of the crime scenes. I think you know well that that means there was no disturbance in any of those places. The culprit isn't just one person, right? You're right. Both Rose-san and Maria-chan were in the parlor. If they hadn't been both killed at the same time, there would have been an uproar. Since the culprit was able to do that, there can't just be just one of them. Which is true. It comes to Maria-chan, yep. Now we see the idea of an unknown outsider sneaking onto the island is actually the less realistic option. The culprit is somewhat familiar with this island, and there's more than one. So, you suspect the servants? Yes. Under the current circumstances, they are the most suspicious. The second reason to suspect them is the closed rooms with the chain locks. What if there was no chain lock on the closed rooms? And they wouldn't be closed rooms. I see. The servants had to seal them with the chain so they wouldn't be suspected. Exactly. By setting the chain, they don't have to worry about being suspected. To turn it around, if the chains weren't set, they wouldn't be able to avoid suspicion since they hold the master keys. Apparently some mailmen who deliver to apartment mailboxes are known to carry loops of wire with them. These mailboxes are almost always locked. If you put the mail into the wrong one, you have no way of getting it out. In that situation, they're supposed to tell the owner of the mailbox about their mistake. Yep. Whereas some mailmen would make a little tool out of wire and a loop with a loop at the end, and use that to fish the mistakenly placed postcard out through the crack of the mailbox. All industries have little tools that can easily open things that normally can't be opened. It wouldn't be particularly surprising if the servants of the mansion had something of the sort. Chain doors allow, yep, the chain locks allow the open door to be opened a crack. If you stick something through that, you should be able to manage it easily. However, Erica knew better. Though it might be possible in reality, the Red Truth had already declared that these closed rooms could not have been constructed from the outside. Yep. Erica was guiding them with their thought with the illusion the only servants could have constructed the closed rooms. with the air of solemnly revealing some crucial point. She steadily steered the situation in the direction she wanted. Every part of her furious pace for the last few minutes had been an act, or to put it her words, it was a detective technique for tricking suspects. I plan to tell Kraus-san what I've told you. I'm not saying that all the servants are culprits. However, it's very likely that one of them is a culprit or has been assisting the culprit. We should split them apart and have people with guns keep an eye on them. With her accomplished conversation techniques, Erika was cleverly grasping the initiative. Even with other detectives' authority, it's possible to control human nature to this degree. What do you think, everyone? I wonder how she says that in the voice acting. If it's like a, what do you think, everyone? Or what do you think, everyone? I don't know. I wonder what the emphasis is on. Like what the, I don't know, the actual kind of meaning of it. Interesting how English works. It, essentially just changes the way you emphasize, how you emphasize the story. The sentence can completely change its meaning. So how is it playing on the Witcher side? It feels strange. I used to think that the Witcher side had such a huge advantage. But now that I'm on that side, I see that's ridiculous. It's almost like that game where you stick knives in a barrel and try not to stab the mustache guy inside. The old me played games like that all the time. Yeah, it's almost like Russian roulette. Even so, you believed that I'd eventually notice and stretch those games out to the limit. Maybe imputed of me to ask, but just what is it that you noticed, Battler-san? At the very end of your games with the old me. Our roles have been completely flipped, haven't they? In the past, only you remembered, and only I forgot. But this time, it's the other way around. Only I remember, and only you have forgotten. Would you mind telling me what it is? Would you mind telling me the answer to the plot? Telling you would be easy, but I don't want to tell you. I'm not trying to be mean. I just want to believe in a miracle for it myself. Bito could remember a certain something without being told. That would prove that Bito had truly revived. So he wouldn't tell her. It was Battler's final seed. It existed because he still couldn't abandon his hopes for Bito's revival. Yes, I must become my former self, for his sake. How do you feel about this game? Do you think you can win? I intend to win. I'll win, and end this eternal torture, just like Bito wanted. Whatever the fuck that means. When it ends, what will happen to the world? Who knows? I wonder. Well, that's what we wish for. So no matter what the result is, I'll accept it. What will happen to me? Game will probably disappear. Now I completely understand magic. So I'll be able to carry you off the game board. I think that was your wish. My wish? The rest is a secret. What? She was trying to teach Battler in the way of magic so he could save her? Maybe? I guess we'll see. I'll be waiting for a miracle for you to remember all of that on your own. I hope Battler-san did that a lot too. My favorite was the one from the highlight in the second game, where he said the Cobra killed everyone by feeding them small bombs. Ah, the highlights of my dark past. Please forget that ever happened as fast as you can. Yes, I will try. Did you call for me, little sister? I want to know more about you, and I want to know what the real me is like. I want to become like that. Of course, I also want to know about my future self. Didn't we reveal everything about ourselves to each other for that purpose? How do we become the fusion dance? Ah, I see. So if we win the love trial, then maybe our miracle will be that we can finally fuse together and become the battler, but like the miracle the battler is hoping for, which is that we can come back to life. But only one person can get the miracle. So what are we gonna have to do? It might mean that successful love is worth two destroyed loves. You're too insecure, little sister. If you can't put your desired answer to the... How was it? How did the red and blue shootout over the first twilight go? We started by testing the waters. Father seemed pretty eager, too. And the result? First, in all cases, it was the victims themselves that constructed the closed rooms. Also, those closed rooms were perfectly preserved until Krause's group broke them open. Also, I confirmed that during this period, all sorts of interference from the outside were impossible. Wait a second. Doesn't that mean his closed room murder was perfect? Not impossible for drugs to make a temporary state that mimics death. Battler did not counter that with the red truth, so the blue truth worked. We've started with a victory. All she done was listen, yep. Your blue truth worked. If you didn't cut it down, it's probably just because it was too stupid. You call yourself a great detective with reasoning like that. Why not just do it? Make that detective proclamation. If you do, you'll be unstoppable. No. When Badler reached the truth during the previous round, this game was already finished. This isn't really the 6th game. It's just a finale so the battler can have a chance to serve as Game Master at the end. The result was already decided last game. Yeah, pretty much. The games won't continue forever, and I've lost my bet with Burn. In this game, Battler will prove that he's reached the game's truth, and then Vito's game will be destroyed. A big victory for the human side. And a big victory for Burn too. I didn't want such a boring victory. The victory you did want had Vito's game board being torn to bits, and Vito's true, pathetic form exposed, humiliated, and trampled on. But this victory of Battler isn't quite like that, is it? Well, it's about love and promises. He wants to end the game quietly and let us sleep in peace. What sort of ending would make anyone vomit? I didn't give Battler all that advice so he could end things like that. I had his little sister turned to scrappy behind his back. I had his parents and family killed horribly over and over again. That was all to spark a desire for revenge against Vito. And now, what kind of ending is this? Have I won? Of course not! Battler's gotten his hands on a victory that neither you or I could stand. I had to withstand a staggering period of boredom just to come all our way out of this backwards territory, just so I could see Beatrice lamely and pathetically torn to little bits. I didn't come here to sip from a rotten yogurt fragment like this. I look forward to this moron piece screwing up all the time in the last game. Therefore, if you manage to win in this even worse situation, that would be a miracle worthy of me. If and only if you can do that, I'll be able to forgive you. Yes, I will surely show you that miracle. Like hell you can't, scum. Oh, like you're having fun. Am I getting in the way? Ah, Battler, I had a look at your first Twilight. Quite impressive closed rooms. I'm sure you're even more talented than Vito. It's just a rehash of the closed rooms Vito made in the past. My role isn't to carry out serial murders. It's to use that process to show you closed rooms that are impossible without magic, and thereby achieve victory for the witch side and prove that I fully understood this game. No, there's one more thing. Settle things with Erica after that evenly matched duel we acted out last time. Evenly matched? I know what you'd like to say. That wasn't a draw. We should have won easily, so it counts as a loss. Erica? What is it? That final fierce attack you and Slano made in the last game was spectacular. Thanks. What happened to Slano this time? You're the one who told Erica not to use the detective proclamation. I don't know what you're talking about. This fight is between me and Erica. We're gonna fight with all we've got. That way we'll be able to accept it whether we win or lose. There's no need for a mastermind behind the scenes like you. If you get in the way of the game's progression, I can use my authority as the Game Master to boot you out of this game. If you want to go ahead, you chase me out, then I'll head back with my piece, Erica. This game will be cancelled and you won't be able to prove that you've reached the truth. The truth with no observers is the same as an illusion. You need a theater goer as a witness until Vito's game ends. Truth only needs to pass between the two of us. If you get in the way, blah blah. fight, then that should be respected. Leave Burn to me. I'm the only one in the world who can calm that kid when she gets in a bad mood. You're the same sort as her, but at least you can be reasoned with. You shouldn't underestimate me. I just like seeing Burn grimace. That's why I've taken a liking to this game of yours. If you think I'm easy to handle, you're apt to get burned, okay? Diana can't use her red log sword because the detective proclamation has been made. Make the detective proclamation. No. Do you really think you can beat me as I am now without the detective's authority? I can win. Lord Battler, Lady Erica is herself with peace. She cannot disobey her master's orders. All she can do is gather the power she has and fight for survival. And Lana, your power up. Are there any other ways of getting that permission? What are you saying? If you're doing this out of pity for me, that's none of your business. Quiet. You're so flimsy by yourself that it's boring. The red key is infinitely similar to the red truth. If and only if I am given a truth, I am permitted to draw my sword for items that pertain to it. What do you mean by a truth? For example, there are Lady Erica's packing tape seals. Ah, those. Lady Burncastel has already acknowledged that those seals are the equivalent in value to the red truth. Therefore, I am permitted to draw the red key, at least for truths permitting to those seals. This caused me a lot of trouble last time. So I had all the sticky packing tape removed from the game board this time around. A splendid move. In accordance with the rules, I must fight my rival ruthlessly. However, that doesn't mean I need to hate Erica herself. I won't misunderstand Beto's game. Erica, you're free to choose not to make a detective proclamation. In that case, go and fight with just your power as a human. However, you have talented allies. Flanor, Gertrude, and Cornelia. You aren't alone. You have allies. Yeah, but they're unreliable, powerless, and useless scum. Flanor? Just like how I was supported by Virgilia and Renova in the past, Erica needs support as well. I know from repeated experience that playing for the human side is tough. Yes, I will assist her with the power I possess. Erica, I will give power. Not to you, but to your allies. Huh? What do you think you're doing? I'd rather die than receive your pity. 3 people, Flanor, Gertrude, and Cornelia. Erica, I'll let you use 3 rooms worth of those packing tape seals. Lord Battler. You, what a man! Aren't you lucky, Erica? Now you can use a bit of red without making the detective proclamation and irritating your master. You'll regret this. I'll use those 3 seals and kill you no matter what. Perfect. Time to kill me. Regarding this matter, should we consider them being accepted retroactively back when Lady Erica received the non-sticky packing tape from Mrs. Kumasawa? Sure, that's fine. I'll rewrite the tale. Packing tape that Erica received from Kumasawa later than the first day was sticky, but there was only enough to use on 3 rooms. They just adjust her movements, starting from the discovery of the first twilight and taking into account the application of the creative position as possible. Yep. you. Thank you. I'll fight with all I've got. I'll come at you with all my strengths, so I'll defeat you no matter what. So if you do win against me, please crush me with all your strength. Please don't leave a scrap behind. Understood. And don't you go easy on me. This is the final game. I'm planning to prove to Beto I reached the truth. Yep. Just kidding. Geez, you're a dim, stupid man. You totally fell for it and gave me the tape. I, Virdo Erica, have backing tape. I totally understand. When you become Game Master, it feels like you become God and you get all stroke yourself. I can kill Battler perfectly. I figured out those pathetic closed rooms long ago. A perfect closed room? Dumbass! I'll show you a real perfect closed room, and I could almost cry for joy at the fact you gave me the weapon that'll finish you. My master, Lady Lambda Delta, thank you so much for going along with this act. You should have known that this was a no-holds-barred fight. How foolish, Lord Battler. This is, without a doubt, the result of your pride. Mr. Battler, this will be fatal. Meanwhile, in the Game of Love, which honestly is the least interesting plot for me, but it's thematically relevant, so... So, what's the next trial? Don't tell me you still haven't decided. Well, we thought at least some of you would drop out. We've decided to have the trial eliminate one group no matter what. This trial is the second twilight of the Epitaph. Tear apart the two who are close! Ah! Zero-sum game. It's where a victory and all losses cancel each other out, but you have it up with zero. In order for someone to win, someone else must be forced to lose. It's the ruthless way of the world. If only everyone could be happy. There's no way an ideal-like world like that could ever exist. No, there is! That is the Golden Land! The Golden Land? What are you talking about? I almost forgot that's a plot point. That's right. If you reach the Golden Land, all love will be satisfied. However, like heaven and hell, that's not a place in this world. The door to the Golden Land can be opened by solving the Epitaph's riddles. riddle. In that place, love and lives are all whole and clean revived. But we're straying from the point. Don't give us answers. Let's keep going. Second trial involves killing one of the 6. One group of lovers must fail during. Okay. You can just fight to the death, or you can decide by lottery of some sort. If they're on equal feelings, we have one pair would have to concentrate the attacks on a single person. Yep. Oh, now, is rock, paper, scissors actually the most reasonable way to settle this? Extremely reasonable. However, if you ask me whether I'd be reckless enough to entrust my fate to a random number generator, the answer is no. Think and fight to the death. Please decide whom the sacrifice will be. This is a wolves and sheep puzzle. There are now 37 wolves and you 2 sheep in that room. technical authority is the same as magic. You can't do anything that's impossible for you. So I guess Erica was only acknowledged as such because she already had that much power. Magic is not something that's given to either lazy or powerless humans. Sorry, I'm going to the cousin room for a second. There's one little thing I just need to check with the servants with the servants over there. Can't you use the phone? You just need to dial the room number. Oh, have you forgotten? Seems the culprit has broken the phones. It'll be easy to check, but it might have a huge lead. I'll be back before long. Please don't let anyone leave this room. Where are you going, Erica-chan? Promised that no one would go outside. Oh, Erica-chan remembers something important she had to do. She's going to the next room over. Don't worry, she'll be fine. Finally, I can investigate to my heart's content. But first, Ushiromiya Butler? Don't use my full name. Allow me to confirm the location of all characters present. Repeat it. Of course, I'm not obligated to respond. I'm not obligated yet. If you don't, I'll just say that someone sneaked out while I wasn't looking, and this person was responsible for the bizarre crimes that are sure to follow. If you want to show me an impossible murder, you should first confirm their locations. I check everyone's locations. I'm not concerned with whether they're alive or dead. Location of their body. The 6 first Twilight rooms located in the places they were discovered. Natsu's in a room, Eva's in the VIP room, Hurie's in Krause's study, Rosa and Maria in the parlor, and you're in the guest room. Don't tell me you're already going to refuse. Don't worry, I acknowledge it. Good. Hideyoshi, George, Chanon, Kumasawa, and Nanjo are in the next room over. Acknowledged. Good. I'll continue. Everyone else is in the cousin room. I refuse. Acknowledging that would mean that Kinzo's corpse would also have to be in the cousin room. Ah, pardon me. It has already been shown that Kinzo no longer exists, so please remove him from the word everyone. Why are you using the word everyone for the cousin room alone? Why are you so vague, when you could just mention the names of Kraus and the other 5 individually? It'd just be too much of a pain to read out all of their names. Or is there something wrong? Does using the word everyone create a problem with some trick of yours? Excluding Kinzo and me, there are 17 people on this island. 6 were killed and lying in the mansion, 5 are in the next room over, and the remaining 6 are in the cousin room. That's a reasonable assumption to make, right? However, there are 17 people on the island, so yada 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 yada. I'm pretty sure this sort of trick involving names and numbers of people caused you a lot of trouble with Nanjo's murder in the 3rd game. Good point. That trick worked because the 18 names given didn't match up with the 18 people who actually existed, leaving room to add an unknown person. Let's call him Puru Pico Man. Even if you list everyone's name and check the location, this Puru Pico Man guy would fall outside the net. Precisely. Even hearing there are only 17 people on this island and here are locations of 17 people is insufficient. There's already a precedent for this. However, the word everyone is too broad. No, if we run away from the word everyone here, there's a chance that Erica will be able to use that as a basis for making Puro Pico Man the culprit for everything. In my old fight with you, I also nailed several riddles with no basis on the unknown 18-person X. You should have called it Puro Pico Man the entire time. It would have make it more entertaining. If I don't crush any chances for this ridiculous name Puro Pico Man right now, he'll be used to explain everything the witch does. Section, right? You mean the chess term? Putting pressure on an enemy piece, forcing it to move and making them weak in their own position. The red truth is a trump card, a treasured sword. Now I'm painfully aware of how Vito felt. Okay, I acknowledge it. I acknowledge that everyone else is in the cousin room. Good. Thank you very much, Butler-san. Beautifully done. Oh, I'm in trouble. If a letter from a witch comes in this situation, just who could I suspect? Glador? Yes, Lady Erica. Let's get started right away. Let's use the privilege our merciful game master has given us. Yes, understood. Gertrude Cornelia, use 2 rooms worth of this 3 set of seals we were given. Let it be known that we understand. seal the cousin room and the next room over. With this, everyone's been sealed except for the victims. No matter what happens after this, the humans within the seal won't be a problem. By the seals from the doors and the windows, the complete sealing of both the cousin room and the next door over has been guaranteed. I mean, I think that the next room over thing is probably a way to get out of it. You don't know what sort of crime will occur in the future. Will it be more advantageous to the humans if there are more people whose location is not specified? A disturbing move. What on earth is Erica planning? It'll be tough to. It's okay. It's hard to lay a hand on survivors. It'll be tough to carry out the second Twilight. Oh, I see. After all, if even one riddle goes unsolved, the witch wins. Yep. The witch side wants to increase its number of attacks, the human side wants to lower the number of attacks. They push, pull back. If they pull back, push. In that case, it's time for us to attack. How should we attack? Guest house is well guarded. Yes, it appears as though the entire guest house is now under Erica's control. However, there are certain pieces, like bishops and knights, whose specialty is cutting behind enemy lines. X-ray. That's also a chess term. Yes, it's a high-level technique. It's when a square seems to be under enemy's control, but you've spotted that your own pieces actually have enough influence over it that you could attack. Erica, if you really believe you could stop my next attack by sealing up all the survivors, that's just naive. How will you handle it? This is my response. Now I can finally stretch my wings. First off, let's take a midnight stroll in the mansion. Oh shit! It's Oh wait, I was like, oh yeah, right. It's Butler's move. That's what his move is. It's one of the usual letters. So it's here already. Almost as though it was waiting for me. Welcome, Furuto Erika-sama, it says. Oh, so it's calling me by name? They totally saw this coming. What does it say? It's an advance notice for a crime. Oh, I should say it's a report after the fact. Apparently they have taken Ushiromiya Battler's corpse. It's basically saying, please try looking for it. So this isn't the Terrapage the two who are close of the second Twilight. Spell disappearing corpses had a few time veto escapes too. This letter was a real attack. All the survivors were sealed in rooms on the second floor. And at the very end, after she'd gone around with Kraus and the others, yep, Eric had personally confirmed there was nothing at this spot. So it's just attack saying, someone who shouldn't be here placed the letter, and that this someone was a witch. That was also an attack the old Beto had often used. Sheesh, if the way you show is the same, then please tell the actual trick isn't the same too. The truth is, there's something I need to apologize for. It's one of those retroactive seals. I actually already sealed one place. I apologize for taking so long to report this to you. To Landor. Oh no, allow me to report. Father's guest room was sealed at the time of Lady Erica's inspection of the corpses. Normally I would have liked to seal all the clothes rooms, but I didn't have enough packing tape. Out of respect for the game master, I sealed only the room with Butler Sound's corpse. So you were kind enough to close the lid on my own coffin. Stay calm. Erica just made a report a bit late. There's no need to lose your cool. Yep, if he was alive, then the letter suddenly appeared was easy to explain. If this was the trick they used, then Battler would have suddenly broke the seals when he left his guest room. The trick would not be workable without breaking the seals, yep. I'm trying to make you cause a plot hole, yes. A logic error. It's called a plot hole, Ange. It's a violation of the rules, the greatest and worst form of error which the which side must avoid making. So a logic error would be a trick that has become impossible. If you summon giants and make towers grow from the ground, but when the lid is taken off, nothing has happened in the Rose Garden, that's one type of magic. That's just an illusion. It's a lie with no observers that takes place where the witch says it did, in a location without any of the anti-magic toxin. Magic that doesn't have to match a result is the most simple kind, a lie. Even Bala saw through it partway through the third game. Then there is another kind, which I call true magic. Magic that matches a result. I've discovered one big rule that magic matching a result has to follow, unlike the magic of illusions. The rule is that only the unobserved process of what you accomplish can be transformed into magic. All forms of magic are tricks. Yeah, there you go. Only things that can be accomplished without magic can have a matching result. Ironically, there's also proof that magic doesn't exist, but out of respect for the Witcher's game, let's call it making the game solvable and fair for the human player. By claiming that the witch said the letter there about magic, Oni-chan is trying to create magic that matches a result. What if she had used it? For example, what if Marie had used the red truth to say, "Went insulated to the cup, the closed room with the overturned cup remain intact"? The red truth can only be used to refer to the truth, right? If you could lie with it, it'd be a massive violation of the rules. The red truth makes it so the trick no longer makes logical sense, then there will be a mismatch between the two sides of the story, yada yada yada. And that would mean the destruction of the game. If there is a plot hole, the game disappears. If it's impossible to do with tricks, then the human side is no move and we get a stalemate. It still hasn't been specified with the red truth that the seals around the guest rooms are intact. He's free to break the seals. If he doesn't, he can probably have it so that someone else other than Bala was alive and swap them in as the person who placed the letter. That's right. Yep. But taking a scenario, one is basically putting in a retcon can sometimes create plot holes, and it would be difficult and regrettable to do it. Okay, I'm finding it hard to concentrate now, so I think I'm gonna go for dinner, make a new save, and see you guys next time.